Hello everybody and welcome back to the RORSRPS Season 2 Qualifier. My name is Preston Vieira and Week 3 is coming to a close. Tonight we're finding ourselves our last two Season 2 qualifiers of the week before we lock this week's qualifiers into their tours tomorrow. Remember, you can join in the tour placement voting process for this week's qualifiers by heading over to the RORSRPS Instagram tomorrow, Saturday, February 10th. 2024. That's at RORSRPS. Drop a follow and keep an eye on my story because every vote counts. As usual, please consider subscribing if you enjoy tonight's event and want to keep up with the qualifiers or catch the soon-to-come Season 2 featuring 3 Tours of Chaos and a new larger total of 48 main field trucks. But here on YouTube, you're only getting half the RORSRPS experience. Don't forget to head over to Instagram this weekend and be the decision maker. Be the tiebreaker. An all-new benefit of being an RORSRPS fan is you can now go over to Dubby.gg and use promo code RORSRPS to get 10% off your purchase. This is not for your first purchase. It's 10% off any purchase, anytime. And with Dubby's powder base, you mix your own energy or hydration drinks at home, and they can end up costing about $1 or less per drink. Join the Dubby movement, get hydrated, get energized, support the RORSRPS channel, and take 10% off Dubby's wide range of flavors using code RORSRPS. Now though, let's jump into today's episode and finish finding our picks for our first event of the night. Deadly Monster is returning. We haven't seen him in a little while. He does relatively well. Nitro Circus Neon is back. We'll see if he can make it to the finish line tonight. Storm Damage Werewolf Node Beam. We haven't seen him on this track. We saw him on the channel in his own showcase video as a tribute to Tim Minty, unfortunately passing away last year in 2023. Invader is back. Invader is here for the first time. MTP Race Source Pack. That's going to be Goliath this time around, and Gravedigger. It looks like we got 2 Gravediggers. We got a Gravedigger 35, 3 Gravediggers, a 14, and a Gravedigger 15, all in the same bracket. So we'll see who comes out on top and if we can get another Gravedigger this time around. Goliath is going to be taking on Max D. Monster Patrol is going to take on Military Rat, a NAMPS truck. Storm Damage, that Werewolf Node Beam truck, is going to take on Gravedigger 14. 106.7, the Fox will face off against Gravedigger 15. Invader is going to take on Suburban Daredevil. Deadly Monster versus NWO. Gravedigger 35 is going to take on Jailbird, and Nitro Circus Neon is going to be taking on Sly Cooper. Now, I didn't catch the mistake when I was making the video, so we got to roll with it. But technically, Gravedigger 35 should not be in this video because we already have Gravedigger 35 qualified into Season 2. We'll see if he ends up as a second qualifier or not, but we're off the line for our first race of the night. That Red Max D is back. Once again, we saw him last episode. He's taking on Goliath here, and they're about neck and neck. Goliath kind of struggling to get that truck pointed in the right direction for that gap on the first floor. Max D making quick work of the first floor. Heading into the slalom already, Max D just holding that lead on Goliath. Goliath trying to make an effort to get back up in contention for first place. He's a bit too far back right now. But, I mean, the race has only just begun. We're not even halfway through as these trucks head up onto starting elevation. Max D holding that lead, looking all right on this track tonight. I mean, he had a better first floor than he did a starting elevation section. But, I mean, you know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Max D touching that center divide there, gets off it quick, doesn't get stuck like we saw Monster Mutt Dalmatian do. He is flying on into the tunnel. Both trucks getting solid transfers. Max D keeping it off the wall. Goliath not really too quick through the tunnel, does get out of it, is on all 4 wheels, which is good, but he's not doing what he needs to do if he wants to, you know, pass up Max D. Both trucks going for the gap and getting nice landings though. Heading around that elevated turn, it's Max D coming out first. Goliath on his way to that final turn, but it's Max D coming around it first and heading to the finish line. That red Max D is on to round 2 once again. We'll see if he can make it into Season 2 this time around in a new bracket on a new day. Anything can happen here in the Spin Master Showdown track. Goliath unable to get it done this time around, just a bit too sloppy on that first floor and through the tunnel. Aside from that, he was relatively solid. Monster Patrol coming out next on your right. and he's taking on Military Rat. Now, this is the first time we've seen Military Rat here on your left. And, I mean, he's a Namped truck, so we kind of have an idea of what to expect. But we'll see how he does here on the Spin Master Showdown track. He does beat Monster Patrol to the step up here on that starting elevation. But Monster Patrol looks like he's a Werewolf node beam truck. He's technically more capable if he can keep that truck in one piece. We've seen this truck come out here on this track quite a few times recently and just go out early and damage the truck or whatever, unable to get to the finish line, unable to knock out an opponent. And as far as this race goes, he's in the lead though, leading on Military Rat as Military Rat slips and slides through the slalom there. A bit of a rough landing from Monster Patrol in that double roller. Kind of gets him in trouble getting up on the starting elevation, but he does it. He's heading up onto the bridge. Military Rat not too far behind. I wouldn't say he's in the sweet spot, but he is not too far behind at all. Into the tunnel, big leap from Monster Patrol. Military Rat as well just comes up a little short for a perfect downside into the tunnel. Monster Patrol losing a little bit of time there, letting Military Rat gain even more. But I don't know. This one could go either way. If Monster Patrol makes a big mistake here, Military Rat could come back. But we'll see how Military Rat handles this elevated turn. Definitely a challenge. The elevation change through the turn causes a lot of trucks to just lose a bit of grip where it is necessary to hold as much as possible. Monster Patrol slinging that thing way out wide in the turn. Military Rat coming back. Can Monster Patrol make it back through the triple here? He does. That was a close one, but it is Monster Patrol heading into round 2 tonight, knocking out Military Rat, narrowly avoiding getting eliminated here in round 1. Military Rat just pulling out that Namped style here, and it went exactly as you could expect. I mean, he was pretty close most of the time through the race, but unable to grab a win. Storm Damage coming out on your right now. That Werewolf node beam truck taking on Gravedigger. And we are off the line already. Both trucks using that rollover technique with those back tires, guiding those back tires down that step-up ramp and onto the first floor. Both trucks, it's about neck and neck here, heading over the gap. But it's Storm Damage coming up short there. Gravedigger off to an early lead now thanks to Storm Damage shortcomings in the gap. Literally shortcomings. Gravedigger looking solid through the slalom though. I mean, no real mistakes on either end, but it's Gravedigger still holding it. Neither one of them getting smooth landings on that double roller, and both of them choppy up onto starting elevation. Can they get it together, and who will get it together enough to take a win into round 2 tonight? Storm Damage reclaims that lead. Heading down onto the first floor first. Gravedigger struggling on the bridge, not having a very good section at all, but Storm Damage is in trouble. Loses a rear fender, and down he goes, snapping that front left wheel off against the wall in the tunnel. Storm Damage is done. Man, what an unfortunate break for Storm Damage here on the Spin Master Showdown track. Gravedigger getting into some trouble, but on all fours, trying to at least complete the elevated turn there, getting into a lot of trouble, but he is the only one on the track still running through this through this final turn, coming around it and headed to the triple. Gravedigger on to round 2. Much needed practice lap there for Gravedigger. We'll see if he can improve his skills here heading into round 2. We'll see him again in just a little bit. He's going to head back up to the pits and have a tough talk with with crew chief, who watched that entire pass here. Gonna have to get into ways you can improve. Gravedigger 15 coming out next on your left, taking on 106.7 the Fox. We just saw 106.7 the Fox last episode. Made it out of the first round for the first time in all 8 of his past appearances here. We'll see if he can do it again tonight. We got the Werewolf node beam Fox this time around. See if he can keep that thing in one piece. Werewolves not doing the best on this track tonight. Monster Patrol the only one so far to make it into the next round. 106.7, the Fox able to keep it on all fours through the first turn, which is good to see. Gravedigger struggling this time, though, through the slalom. Unable to make up much ground. 106.7, the Fox still trying to get up near the lead. Gravedigger, even with his struggle of keeping all four tires on the ground, he gets up on a starting elevation. 106.7, the Fox in trouble through that starting elevation section from the double rollers all the way up until the turn here. Gets up onto the bridge, though. Gravedigger looking for a transfer already. Not the cleanest transfer, but gets it done. Solid through the tunnel. 106.7, the Fox struggling. He is tweaked. Oh my goodness! I missed it. Gravedigger going for a ride, and down he goes. 106.7, the Fox free and clear to head into round two again tonight. Can he keep that truck in one piece? Nice long to low through the gap on the bottom floor. 106.7, the Fox, the only truck on the track. Is he going to make it around or over that finish line? Wide through that final turn. The truck is tweaked, though. He's struggling to even keep that thing under control as it is. Heading over the finish line, though. He is on to round two, and he's going to head back to the pits and get that truck fixed up. Get that tweak a little untweaked here as we head into the next round. 106.7, the Fox has done it again. Suburban Daredevil next on your left. He's taking on Invader. We haven't seen Invader on this track. We, at the very least, haven't seen this version of Invader. We'll see how he does here, taking on Suburban Daredevil. Launching off of that starting line, it's Suburban Daredevil with a slight lead early on. Big slap wheelie from Invader. Big leap over the Jackrabbit as well. That's going to hurt him here, heading to the gap on the first floor. Going to try to go long to low there. Gets crooked even more. Awkward landing, but does land it. Gets it down on all fours. Way to control it. Suburban Daredevil in the lead by a long shot here, heading through the slalom. Up and over the double roller for Suburban Daredevil. Nice and clean, but does come up short. Oh, down he goes. Can he get a save? Nicely done. Wastes a lot of time, but oh man, this race is a mess. Invader down now and unable to get back on all fours. Suburban Daredevil free and clear to take his practice lap and head into round two. Getting in trouble in the transfer as well. Suburban Daredevil not the cleanest tonight. We'll see if he can, gather it back up for round two and get these gremlins that he's facing under control. He's just struggling out here on every section of this track, having its own unique struggle for Suburban Daredevil tonight. We'll see. I mean, he's still running. Truck is driving, trying to get it to the finish line. And this is just an unfortunate break for Suburban Daredevil. I mean, he's moving on to round two. He has another shot to come back and do better, but you don't want to see this happen to any truck on this track. You want to see a nice, clean race, quick pass, and, you want to see both trucks make it to the finish line, really, but that didn't happen here in our, fourth race of round one. Down goes Invader. Suburban Daredevil on to round two. Next up on the track, Deadly Monster coming out on your right, taking on NWO. Now, we've seen both these trucks a few times now. NWO has yet to have a really great pass on this track. Will tonight be the night? Deadly Monster, only a couple real big mistakes. I mean, he hasn't made it into the final round, but not too many huge mistakes from Deadly Monster. Can NWO clean it? No. I mean, he gets a decent landing on the downside, but not a perfect landing. Deadly Monster, the first one into the slalom. NWO's hurting right now. But he is driving that Willman, that Mentz Willman chassis, so we'll see if he gets down to that bottom floor, if clearing that gap on the bottom floor is an option for him to make up some ground. Comes up short on the double roller. Deadly Monster has his own struggle on starting elevation, though, giving NWO a chance to, you know, make up that slip of coming up short in the double roller. Deadly Monster going, trying to keep it off the center divide, which slows him down on the bridge. NWO gaining on Deadly Monster. How's the transfer going to go? Both trucks kind of having their own slop to it. Deadly Monster bouncing off the wall. So that is going to put him out. NWO has a shot at round 2. This would be, I believe, his first entry into round 2. Unable to clear it on the bottom floor gap, though. Deadly Monster as well, but does keep that truck on all fours and rolling. Heading around that chicane for Deadly Monster. Too far behind at this point. Is NWO going to take it? Yes, coming around that final turn and over the triple. NWO is on to round 2. Deadly Monster done here in round 1 tonight. We've seen him come out of round 1 a lot of times, making it up into round 2, even the semifinals. But it's not going to happen for him tonight. NWO on to round 2. Deadly Monster done. Gravedigger 35 coming out next on your right. And he'll be taking on Jailbird. We've seen Jailbird once before on this track. A solid pass from her. Unable to make it up into round 2. But not a bad pass by any means. We'll see if she can tighten up any screws tonight as she takes on Gravedigger. Both trucks neck and neck heading over the Jackrabbit. And I would say that's Jailbird cleaner. She comes off quick too. In the lead right now over the gap. Big slide from Gravedigger 35. Jailbird just expanding that lead little by little here, and that's all it takes. Little by little is a long, long race. You know, there's a lot of chances for your opponent to make mistakes and a lot of chances for you to make up some ground or expand your lead. Jailbird, nice big leap up onto starting elevation. Gravedigger too. Gravedigger getting it done. Big slide though in that starting elevation turn. Jailbird, the first one up and through the cars on the bridge. Gravedigger, just sloppy. Just having a rough time on this track. This is a different version of Gravedigger 35, but it is Gravedigger 35. Jailbird slipping and sliding through the rollers on the bottom floor. Gravedigger as well. Jailbird, the first one into that elevated turn. Is she going to hold this lead on Gravedigger the entire time? This might be Gravedigger's only shot to catch up here in this final turn if Jailbird can make a mistake, but I don't know if it's going to happen from what we've seen from her so far tonight. Coming around that final turn, Jailbird knocks out Gravedigger here in round 1. Only one of our 3 Gravediggers tonight have been able to make it out of round 1. Gravedigger 35 down here in the first round. Unfortunate break for sure. I mean, not so much for Gravedigger 35, but for the Gravedigger team, they have 3 trucks in this bracket tonight. And only one of them on to round 2. Sly Cooper coming out next on your left, taking on Nitro Circus Neon. We've seen Nitro Circus Neon here quite a few times. Same for Sly Cooper. Sly Cooper, I would say the better of the 2. Nitro Circus has a tough time keeping that truck on all fours on this track. We'll see if he can do it this time and at least make it to the finish line, or if Sly Cooper will make a big mistake and allow Nitro Circus to come back. Around that first turn, Nitro Circus looking clean this time around. A lead heading into the slalom. Sly Cooper much more capable of throwing that truck around. So he may make up some ground here, and it's neck and neck over the double rollers, so Sly Cooper does make up some ground. Can Nitro Circus come back? Decent turn from Nitro Circus, but a big slide. Sly Cooper just expanding his lead here as we head onto the bridge. Nicely done from Nitro Circus over the cars, though. Sly Cooper kind of letting the cars take advantage of him a little bit. Looking for a transfer. Sly Cooper, nice and clean. Nitro Circus, not bad at all. Sly Cooper just too far in the lead. Sly Cooper's going for a ride, and he is done. Second truck of the night going down to those rollers outside of the tunnel. Wow. Nitro Circus in the lead right now, all by himself. Can finally move on into round 2. We'll be seeing him again if he can keep that truck down on all fours here. Getting hiked up, coming out of that chicane. And in the final turn, going over. Gets a save. Nicely done. Great timing with that throttle tap. And coming over the triple, it's Nitro Circus Neon. On to round 2 tonight, knocking out Sly Cooper. Thanks to a big roll in the dip here on the bottom floor. Nitro Circus, definitely not who I would have picked to come out on top here in round 1, but that is going to do it for round 1. Let's take a look at our round 2 bracket here. Max D is going to be taking on that Werewolf No Beam Monster Patrol. Gravedigger 14 is going to take on 106.7 the Fox, another Werewolf truck. Suburban Daredevil is going to face off against NWO. Neither one of those having clean passes last time around. We'll see if they can tighten up the screws. And Jailbird is going to face off against Nitro Circus. Now, something I forgot to mention, Jailbird was in Season 1. Jailbird was a pretty middle of the pack competitor for the Custom Chaos Tour, but she stuck around all season. I'm pretty sure she wasn't even subbed out at all this season. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she wasn't even subbed out the whole season. She was one of our only trucks to really stick around the entire time, and took a freestyle win in Gruthersburg, in the Gruthersburg event. So she's a competitor. She wants to make it back into Season 2. And tonight is a second chance for her. We'll see if she can lock it in. Max D and Monster Patrol already into the slalom here. And Max D a little sloppy this time around. Coming out of the slalom, it is Max D with the lead. Just slightly though. Monster Patrol in that sweet spot. Ooh. Coming up short on that starting elevation launch ramp once again for Monster Patrol. Kind of tweak that rear suspension once again. Max D just furthering his lead here as we head off the bridge and onto the first floor again. Can Max D stick it out the entire time? Comes up a little short on the landing there for the transfer. Max D in trouble. Monster Patrol grabs the lead onto the bottom floor. Can Max D come back with his launch over the gap? He does. Max D may have a lead here. He does. Coming out of the chicane first, it's Max D with the lead heading to the final turn. I don't think Monster Patrol is going to do it. Around that final turn, Max D, yes, heading over the triple and to the finish line. Max D on to the semifinals tonight. Monster Patrol is done. Getting kicked sideways over that final jump too. A wild launch for the final jump of Monster Patrol's first bracket, at least. I mean, we don't know what that second bracket is going to look like. He could be back once again. But Max D onto the semis here in our first bracket of the night. Gravedigger 14 coming out next on your right with that 20th anniversary scheme on that Gravedigger truck. And 106.7 the Fox fixed after a troublesome first lap in round 1. We'll see how he does here in round 2. Falling behind already compared to that Gravedigger truck. And sloppy landing on the Jackrabbit for both trucks. Gravedigger gonna launch it, but he's gonna come up short. 106.7, the Fox gonna go long to low. He does waste a little bit more time than Gravedigger, but both trucks are hurt from that, hurting on time here at least, from having to come up short on those launches over the gap. Gravedigger trying to hold this lead on 106.7 the Fox, but 106.7 the Fox, I would say cleaner through the slalom and cleaner on the downside of the double roller as well. 106.7 the Fox wants to be in the semifinals tonight. Second round, 106.7 the Fox's current record for farthest up the bracket for himself. We'll see if he can beat that here tonight. Hits that center divide, which could have gotten him into even more trouble than it did. Could have snapped a tie rod or a knuckle or something. Up and over, looking for a transfer. Solid landing. Big bounce, though. Gravedigger heading into the gap already as 106.7. The Fox slips and slides coming out of the tunnel. Gravedigger knows he has a big lead on 106.7 the Fox. 106.7 the Fox, one of the few Werewolf node beam trucks to try and clear the gap. It doesn't work for him, and he is too far back anyway, so might as well give these fans a show. Gravedigger heading around that final turn and to the finish line now. 106.7 the Fox done here in round 2. Once again, Gravedigger on to the semis tonight to take on Max D. Classic versus, relatively new school in that Gravedigger versus Max D race. Gravedigger from probably 2002, 2003, and Max D from 2016. So we'll see who comes out on top there. Suburban Daredevil coming out next on your right, taking on NWO. And this is an interesting one for sure. This could be a wild race. We're starting right now, going green off the finish line and headed down onto the first floor. Both trucks having their own approach to that step up, and it puts them out even as they head over the Jackrabbit. Suburban Daredevil with a cleaner landing, heading into that gap first. NWO trying to just keep that truck alive here on the Spin Master Showdown track. He has not had much luck with that at all. His past couple of appearances, I believe he's only had 2, and both times he went out due to rolling the truck or making a big mistake, you know what I mean? So heading up onto starting elevation, NWO getting it done right there, neck and neck with Suburban Daredevil. Who is going to come out on top? It's a pretty fair race this time around. Even matchup here as we head up onto the bridge. Suburban Daredevil cleaner over the cars, able to get back on the power sooner, but it's Suburban Daredevil with a big hit and hitting that chassis on the asphalt there. They are going to shut him off even if he wasn't able to get back on all fours. NWO for the first time is heading into the semifinals. Can he get across the finish line? If that's not a motivator, I don't know what would be. Nice landing on the elevated turn there from NWO. Great drift around it and headed to the final turn. Looks like NWO is going to be able to stick it out until the semis tonight. Can he hold on till the finals? Up and over the triple and to the finish line. NWO into the semis. Nice big lead. Beautiful slap wheelie too. Nice. We'll head back up to the pits, and so will we as we check out our next and final race of round 2. Jailbird on your right, taking on Nitro Circus Neon. Now, you already know who I'm leaning towards. We had her in Season 1. She was able to qualify. She wants to do it again. I am leaning towards Jailbird, but Nitro Circus did relatively well. I mean, for the Nitro Circus trucks in round 1. See if he can do it again here in round 2. Both trucks airing it out there over the Jackrabbit, and it's Jailbird who comes out just with a slight lead heading into this first turn. Nicely done from Nitro Circus, keeping it down on all fours. A little bit behind still as we head into the slalom, but that could change in an instant. Heading into the double roller section, Jailbird just holding that lead on Nitro Circus. Nitro Circus with a great clean downside. Kind of bobbles that landing onto starting elevation. But, I mean, we got a long race to go. Anything could happen to Jailbird here. Heading into the bottom floor. And then down onto first floor once again. Can she get a nice clean transfer? She's looking for it. Nicely done. Nitro Circus, not terrible, but he does get kicked kind of sideways. Manages to keep it on all fours here as Jailbird gets kicked around big time through the rollers on the bottom floor. Through the gap, Jailbird going long to low. She knows she has the time to spend to do that. Nitro Circus doesn't, so he airs it out and takes a big hit on time and on the front end. It's all Jailbird heading into the final turn. Nicely done. Great turn there. Heading over the triple and to the finish line. Jailbird is on to that final spot in the semifinals here in our first bracket. Nicely done. A great pass from Jailbird. We'll see if she can bring that energy into the semis with her. But Nitro Circus done here in round 2 tonight. A little bit of a stoppie. He'll be back. We'll see him again. Max D taking on Gravedigger to kick off the semifinals. And to close it out, we got NWO versus Jailbird. I'd be happy with all 4 of these trucks in Season 2, so I'm just a fan at this point. I'm just watching to see what's going to happen. We're going to kick things off with that Max D versus Gravedigger, the biggest rivalry in Monster Jam history. Going head-to-head here in the semifinals. Who is going to come out on top? It's not just Max D versus Gravedigger. It's Retro versus New School. Who will take it by the end? Gravedigger rolling over that step up. Max D airing it out. Max D overshoots the Jackrabbit landing a little bit. Gravedigger kind of takes a rollover approach. And it's Gravedigger, I would say, with a smoother landing on the gap. But Max D just holding that lead right now. Through the slalom, this could be an even match here. Max D, very slippery. Gravedigger with a shorter wheelbase than Max D, so he manages to make up some ground. Not much, but enough to get in the sweet spot. Around that starting elevation turn, Gravedigger with a little bit of a slide that slows him down even more. Max D just consistent here tonight. Uh-oh. Getting in trouble on the cars again. This red Max D commonly struggles with those cars. Gravedigger grabs the lead heading into the transfer. Can he hold it for the rest of the race? Max D with a beautiful transfer, trying to keep it off the wall, and he does. But he gets kicked up, going sideways. Over goes Max D, going for a wild ride. That is the second time this red Max D has gone for a wild ride off of those rollers here on the bottom floor. Down he goes. Gravedigger is heading into the finals tonight. What a way to stick with it for that Gravedigger machine. Heading into the final round thanks to just rocking with it. We mentioned it last night. Just stick with it and do you. And you might come across that finish line first. Thanks to your opponent getting cocky or, letting the pressure get to him, whatever it may be. Max D down with a rough roll here in the semifinals. Moving on with the rest and the last race of our semifinals. Jailbird on your left taking on NWO. This is the first time NWO has been in the semifinals. Jailbird, I believe, was here. No, Jailbird did get eliminated in round 1. I remembered I already mentioned that. But we'll see who comes out on top. It's a first for both of these trucks. Jailbird, a nice clean downside on the Jackrabbit, grabbing an early lead here, heading over the gap. NWO with a beautiful clean landing on that downside of the gap. Looking good so far. I mean, it could be a very even race. NWO getting in trouble. Nearly going over and potentially would have rolled into the pit of disqualification. Manages to keep it out and keep that truck on all fours as we're heading over the double rollers. NWO comes up just short. Jailbird just holding that lead right now, keeping that consistent speed through this entire track. Jailbird manages to save it from going off the edge. Wow, what a save. Easily one of the highest stakes saves we've seen. Not just because she would have lost the race here in the semifinals, but because you're falling pretty high. I'm not even sure how tall that bridge is. 50 feet up, 60 feet? Man, what a great save from Jailbird heading over into the elevated turn. NWO the same, a great landing from both trucks, so which means Jailbird is holding that lead. Heading into the final turn, Jailbird, the first one there and through it. Not going to happen for NWO this time. A nice clean race from him. Solid pass overall. Did great here in the semifinals, just not enough to knock out Jailbird. And Jailbird is moving on to take on Gravedigger in the final round. What a final setup here. What a semifinal round leading into the finals. Jailbird taking on Gravedigger in the finals to close out this first bracket. This is going to be potentially a wild race. I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. Let's jump right into it. Gravedigger on your right taking on Jailbird. I am amped. I am excited. I am energized. And if you want to get energized, head over to Dubby.gg. Use code RORSRPS for 10% off and get some delicious energy powder. You can mix your own drink, mix your own potency. If you need more flavor, if you need more energy, you can use more powder. That's the brilliance of the Dubby model here with the powder base. And I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I'm looking forward to it. Very curious to see which one's going to be my favorite flavor. And if you know what your favorite flavor is, leave it down in the comments. I want to hear it. Jailbird and Gravedigger going head-to-head here in the finals. Jailbird with an early lead. This Gravedigger seems to be struggling in the final round. Nice downside on the double roller, though. Big sky wheelie. That slows him down even more. Heading on to starting elevation. Jailbird trying to keep that truck controlled on the bridge this time. Trying to stay away from that ledge. Jailbird getting up on that center divide. Slows her down just a bit. Gravedigger making up a little tiny bit of ground. We'll see who comes out with a better transfer. Jailbird beautifully done. Gravedigger not bad either. But it's Jailbird who's just holding that lead. We might be getting another returning truck here into Season 2. Big hit for Jailbird, though. Gravedigger, a beautiful landing. It is close around the elevated turn. Gravedigger losing traction. Coming out of the chicane, it's Jailbird, squirrely but in the lead. Gravedigger trying to make it around that final turn first, but it's not gonna happen. Jailbird is on to the second season. We got a returning competitor. What a night of racing for Jailbird. Clean and consistent all night, except for that thing that on the bridge that we don't talk about, but she recovered from nicely. She did it, made it into the finals, and earned her spot in Season 2. Be sure to head over to Instagram tomorrow, Saturday, February 10th, to place your tour placement votes. We got the biggest and baddest tour, the Indie Madness Tour, and the All-Star Challenge Tour, featuring Team Thunder versus Team Mayhem all season long. The biggest and baddest team battle we've seen ever in Monster Jam history. We got it on the RORSRPS channel, and it's going to be going on for, you know, probably a good 6 months. How long was last season? 30 episodes. We got 30 episodes once again before the World Finals. So you're going to see her a lot. Head over, place your votes. Those are important. Every vote counts. We do not want a tiebreaker. We want straight up facts telling us what's going on. One last look at Jailbird with this awesome glamour shot of that F-150. Moving on to Season 2. Let's kick things off for our second bracket here. Spinning the wheel, Screaming Evil is back. We'll see if he can keep it together tonight. Last night, he was struggling on this track, to say the least. Unable to get past round one. Rizlone Defender is back once again, really going for the record here. He wants the most attempts. I would like to be qualified into Season 2 rather than having the most attempts, but you know, to each their own. Red Max D's coming back. Gravedigger 22 is coming back as well. Iron Outlaw, the first time we're going to be seeing this one in a long time. And El Toro Loco is here. We haven't had El Toro Loco a lot. You know, we haven't had El Toro Loco a lot. So, unfortunate for me, because I'd love to see El Toro Loco in Season 2. I feel like, personally, it's kind of necessary. If you got a Monster Jam show, you need an El Toro Loco, but I don't know. We'll see if you can do it tonight. Here's a full look at your lineup here. We're going to shuffle it 3 times, and that is going to create our official matchups, our official seeding here for our first round of racing. Gravedigger is going to take on Rizlone Defender. Screaming Evil is going to take on Backdraft. First time we're seeing him. El Toro Loco taking on Shell Camino, another first. Lucas Stabilizer, Werewolf Truck, is going to be taking on Blue Thunder, while Tunalidon and Nitro Circus face off. Iron Outlaw is going to take on Minimum Disruption. Bad Dog is going to face off against Monster Mutt. The two dogs going head-to-head. And Max D will face off against Toxic to close out round one. Got some good-looking trucks this time around. I got some preferences, but, I mean, we'll see how it goes. Everything's non-biased here as far as the racing goes, so we'll see who comes out on top. Gravedigger versus Rizlone Defender to get us started, and we are already on to the Jackrabbit. Rizlone Defender using his experience on the step-up to hold an early lead over Gravedigger here. Gravedigger going to come up short on the gap as well. Now, Gravedigger may deal with some top-heavy issues. We'll see if he can keep those under control. Already hiking up onto two wheels here in the first turn of the slalom. Rizlone Defender able to chuck that truck around and just holds an early lead on Gravedigger here as we head over the double roller. Both trucks solid over it. Rizlone Defender, I would say, had a better one. But, I mean, that comes with the experience. He's been on this track a lot. You can't expect him to be a newbie still, you know what I mean? Heading up and through the cars on the bridge. Rizlone Defender just holding that gap on Gravedigger right now. Who's going to get a better transfer? Of course, Rizlone Defender with the experience to get it done. Gravedigger not bad, but he's trying to fight it to keep it off the wall. Does tap the wall there just a little bit. Keeps that truck on all fours, keeps it running, but he is struggling to keep that truck on all fours and pointed in the right direction here on the bottom floor. Hard hit on the front end for Gravedigger as well. Rizlone Defender, not much to talk about in his past. He is consistent. He's used to the track by now. Maybe tonight will be the night he will get up into Season 2 as a Season 1 sub. I would expect him to have, made it and qualified already. But no, not yet. We'll see if tonight is the night. Gravedigger just now getting across that finish line, and he is done here in round one. Unfortunate break for the Gravedigger team getting us started. Yeah, not really much to say, man. It sucks. we still need one more Gravedigger and one more Max D. So we'll see if Max D can get it done here later on in this bracket. Screaming Evil coming out next on your right. We'll see if he can keep that thing on all fours. And Backdraft on your left. It's the first time we're seeing Backdraft. We'll see how he does on this track. It's a mystery as far as Backdraft goes for the Spin Master Showdown track. Nice clean landing on the downside for Backdraft. Screaming Evil with an early lead, but he is bouncing all over the place. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to keep it on all fours if he keeps running like that. Big slide from Screaming Evil. Backdraft nice and clean around that first turn. Another big slide from Screaming Evil heading into the slalom. Can he make up the ground before Backdraft is out of it? Looks like he does make up some ground. Not enough to grab the lead. Another slide, though, on the exit. That hurts him. Backdraft just holding the lead nice and easy. Slow and steady for him. Screaming Evil maybe going a bit too hard, trying to jump back up into the lead, and that is what's causing him to slip and slide here on the Spin Master Showdown. There's an advantage that Screaming Evil has. He can clear those cars, essentially. He can clear the cars. He didn't this time. He has in the past, though. Backdraft, slight lead heading into the tunnel, but getting up on two wheels, keeping it off the wall and off the roof. Backdraft with a great save. Screaming Evil holds the lead right now, though. Backdraft squirrely in that straightaway before the gap. Screaming Evil goes over and onto the cars. He is shut down, even if he was able to get back on all fours. He is done. Backdraft heading to that final turn. He is on to round two with that slow and steady approach. I mean, he did struggle a little bit through the tunnel and into that straightaway, our first straightaway here on the bottom floor. But Backdraft, slow and steady, sticking with it. Don't give up, do you? Another one. We'll be seeing him again in just a little bit when we move on to round two. Nicely done for a first attempt here on this track. We'll see if you can tighten up any screws next time around. Shell Camino on your left, taking on El Toro Loco. First time we've seen Shell Camino, brand new truck, courtesy of yours truly. Thank you very much. We're launching off of that starting line to get us started. Who's going to come out on top? El Toro Loco a bit, not the cleanest, coming off of that starting step up there. Or the Jackrabbit. Shell Camino, nice early lead heading into this first turn. Who is going to come out on top? I would love to see El Toro Loco take it to the finale here, the final round. We'll see if he can do it. He's struggling here on the first floor. Nicely done from Shell Camino. Nice and clean through the slalom. Comes up short on the double roller. El Toro Loco gets a nice clean downside, and that helps him a lot getting on a starting elevation. They are about neck and neck here coming into the ski hill. El Toro Loco catching a little bit of air there, holding that slight lead on Shell Camino. It's going to be El Toro Loco potentially first into the tunnel. Who's going to get a better transfer, though, is a big, important question. Looks like Shell Camino got a better transfer, but El Toro Loco still holding that lead. Nicely done on the bottom floor for both trucks. Dead tie heading into the gap on the bottom floor. Oh, El Toro Loco goes for a ride. Shell Camino free and clear to grab a win here. El Toro Loco looking for a save, not going to get it, and that wouldn't save his run even if he could. Shell Camino coming around that final turn and headed to the finish line. She is on to round 2 tonight. Nice big leap across that finish line. Shell Camino getting it done here in round 1. A great pass for her first time on this track. Nicely done. We'll see her again in just a few minutes. Blue Thunder coming out next on your left. He'll be taking on Lucas Stabilizer. Of course, Stabilizer is that werewolf node beam version. We'll see if she can keep it in one piece here as we get started and launching off of that starting line. Blue Thunder, early lead. Will that matter? Neck and neck over the Jackrabbit. Again, Blue Thunder with a nice clean downside, grabbing that lead once again. Struggles coming off of that first gap, though, on the first floor. Lucas Stabilizer trying to get it done, trying to catch up. We'll see if this slalom kicks her into the lead any farther. She holds the lead right now, heading into the double roller. It's neck and neck. Blue Thunder comes back on the exit of the slalom. Heading down into the ski hill. Blue Thunder, again, just holding a very slight lead right now. Can he hold it the entire race? Looking for a transfer for Blue Thunder and Lucas Oil Stabilizer. Both trucks kind of getting an equal amount of bounce there. Kick off of the landing. Oh, but it's Blue Thunder. Hard hit on the top of that truck on the cab. Down goes Blue Thunder. He is done. Lucas Stabilizer free and clear to grab a spot in round 2. If she can get that truck settled down, manages to get it down on all fours. I don't know why she was still in reverse there, but she's looking for the finish line now. That truck is hurt. Seems to be tweaked in the rear end, but she is still heading to the finish line, and it looks like she's going to get there. Going for the gap. Ooh. Hard butt kicker dislocates that rear drive shaft with that hit on that rear end. And that hurt. That was a rough landing, but she is over the finish line. We're going to get that truck fixed up for round 2, but she'll be there. Lucas Stabilizer on to the next one tonight. Tuna Ladon Fire is here on your right, taking on Nitro Circus. Now, we just saw Nitro Circus in the last bracket. I know you remember, but I'm just saying it anyways. Nitro Circus was just here with the neon version. We'll see if the regular version of Nitro Circus can get it done here on the Spin Master Showdown track. Keep it on all fours tonight. Tunaludon an early lead. Heading over the gap here on the first floor. Nice clean downside for Tunaludon. Just expanding that early lead. Nitro Circus settling that truck down in the turn, trying to keep it down on all fours. That slows him down a lot, having to check those brakes like that. Through the slalom, Nitro Circus fighting that hike up onto the side. Able to get it through and over the double rollers. We'll see if he can keep that down on all fours for the rest of the race, or if that's going to be too much of an issue for him. Will he be able to catch Tunaludon is another question. Tunaludon a nice big lead on Nitro Circus right now as we head down back onto the first floor and into the tunnel. Tunaludon coming up short, but a nice, clean, easy transfer. Same for Nitro Circus. Not so clean and easy, though. Manages to get it down on all fours and keep it running, but it's Tunaludon just holding a lead after an incredible save through the dip here on the bottom floor. Nitro Circus going long to low. That pretty much seals his fate here, unless Tunaludon rolls it in the final turn, which I don't think is going to happen from the way he's running here on this track tonight. No. Beautiful drift through that final turn. Tunaludon over the triple and heading to the finish line. Tunaludon Fire is into round 2 tonight. Nice big leap, great landing. Nitro Circus all over the place, gets to the finish line, manages to get through it without rolling the truck over, so congrats to him. But no second round placement for Nitro Circus this time around. See how Tunaludon does as we move through the bracket tonight. First time, I think it might be the first time we are seeing Tunaludon Fire in round 2. Minimum Disruption coming out next on your left. Of course, a spoof on Maximum Destruction. He'll be taking on Iron Outlaw, that 2021 version, launching off that starting line and heading over the step up here in round 1. This could be an interesting race. Of course, this is the first time we're seeing Minimum Disruption, the first time I've driven Minimum Disruption in a long time. But it's good to see him back racing and running on this track here. Iron Outlaw, an early lead and a great turn. Minimum Disruption out wide, but he's not too far behind Iron Outlaw. He was a bit wider, but he managed to maybe keep some grip. Oh, but struggles there. Getting hiked up off of a pitted disqualification for Minimum Disruption. Iron Outlaw off to an early lead with a big gap behind him. Ooh, a big slide for Iron Outlaw, though. Minimum Disruption able to make up some ground here on that starting elevation turn. Iron Outlaw has been here once before. He didn't do too well. He took a big spill on the bottom floor. We'll see if he can keep that truck on all fours this time in round 1. Minimum Disruption struggling at that. Iron Outlaw gets through the rollers. That is where he had his big mistake before. He is sloppy through that dip, but he's holding a lead on Minimum Disruption, and that is all that matters. Who is in the lead? Minimum Disruption having his own struggles there in the left side of your screen, but it's Iron Outlaw coming out of the chicane first and headed to that final turn. It's looking like Iron Outlaw's heading into round 2. Big slide from Iron Outlaw, but it doesn't matter. Minimum Disruption not able to get around that turn quick enough. Iron Outlaw is on to round 2. Minimum Disruption down here in round 1. Solid race from both trucks. I mean, both trucks getting across that finish line. Minimum Disruption fighting to get right up next to Iron Outlaw and pass him by the end of the race, but it just doesn't happen this time around. We'll see who can come out on top in round 2. But check this out. The dogs going head-to-head here in round 1. Bad Dog on your right and Monster Mutt on your left. This is that PEI Monster Mutt on your left, and we've seen him here once before. We'll see how he does this time around. Big leap from both of those trucks on that starting step up. Bad Dog in the lead at this point. Monster Mutt with a nice little rollover approach on the Jackrabbit, but he's going to air it out over the gap where Bad Dog had to go long to low. Monster Mutt grabs a slight lead here through that first turn. and heading into the slalom. Now he is a werewolf truck, so he should excel here through this slalom. But it seems like Bad Dog is making up some ground. I don't know if Monster Mutt is going to be able to do it this time around. Neck and neck over the double roller. It is a close race right now. Bad Dog, nice clean turn. Monster Mutt, not as well. Not coming off as well as Bad Dog. Over the cars. Bad Dog just expanding his lead little by little. Who's going to get a better transfer into the tunnel? Bad Dog with the experience on Monster Mutt at this point. It's Bad Dog first onto the bottom floor, but getting in trouble. Can he get it under control? Going for a ride, essentially gets a backflip there, but it's Monster Mutt who reclaims the lead. Monster Mutt going to go long to low here on the gap on the bottom floor. Bad Dog able to get back on all 4 BKTs, not taking too bad of a spill to where they need to shut him down, but he is struggling in that elevated turn. It doesn't look like it's going to happen for Bad Dog here in round 1. Monster Mutt, the first one to this final turn. Little bit of a struggle from Monster Mutt in that turn, but it doesn't matter. Bad Dog is too far behind. Monster Mutt over the finish line first, and Bad Dog down tonight here in round 1. Unfortunate break for Bad Dog. He's been here a couple times, and he wants into season 2. We do have a few shows left to go here. We are on episode 16 now. I believe there's 23 shows, so he has a shot to do it. But he just needs to stick it out and come back. Hopefully that wheel lands on a Monster Mutt into round 2 tonight. Max D Red. We'll see if he can keep it off the roof here in the second bracket of the night. Toxic. This is the first time we're seeing this truck. A brand new request for the Spin Master Showdown. We're going green for your final race of round 1. Over the step up. Both trucks airing it out. Toxic with, a nice arc. Heading down onto that first floor, and it is about neck and neck. I mean, Max D, slight lead here, heading into the first turn, which expands thanks to Toxic's big bounce, coming up short on that gap. Through the slalom, I should say. Max D just holding his lead. Toxic getting spun out there, clipping that pit of disqualification. Max D hurts himself on time there on that double roller, but not as bad as Toxic trying to get back up on the starting elevation. Luckily, he's not a werewolf truck. He'd be tweaked big time after that save from Toxic. Max D struggling over the cars as he does. We'll see if he can get up into the semifinals again tonight. He's looking good here for round 1. Down into the tunnel, Max D getting it done, clips the wall on the way out, and he's going over here in round 1 and out onto the concourse. He is done. Shut off. I don't believe they're going to let him refire. Once you head out into the concourse like that, you are done. Toxic, able to just stick with it. There's another truck to just prove. Just do you. Focus on your race. Don't worry about your opponent because they'll bite themselves by the time we get down to the bottom floor. Toxic heading around this final turn and into round 2, knocking out Max D here in round 1. Nicely done. What a way to close out the first round. Max D unable once again to keep that truck on all 4 BKTs and just allowing Toxic to get it done here. That is going to do it for our first round as Toxic throws it up onto a stoppie for these fans here on that bottom floor and on the Skyway. Nicely done. Let's take a look here at our round 2 bracket. Rizlone Defender taking on Backdraft to get us started. Shell Camino is going to take on Lucas Stabilizer. Tunalodon Fire will take on Iron Outlaw, and Monster Mutt will take on Toxic to close out round 2. Again, we got some good races here and some newcomers doing well on this track. It's good to see them. This is why I ask you guys for requests, so not only do you guys get to see trucks that you want to see, but we get some new trucks around, trucks that haven't been here a million times. Like Rizlone Defender here getting us started in round 1. He is the first one down to the floor on the first floor. Backdraft trying to keep that truck under control here. We'll see if he can get it done and make it on to round 3, our semifinals. Rizlone Defender clips that right rear and gets a flat tire, does reinflate, but struggling with the dumpster is going to slow you down a lot. Backdraft, the first one heading through the slalom here, and Rizlone Defender is already caught up, so the little lead that Backdraft had, he kind of blew it. See if just focusing on you and doing you is going to work in this race against someone who has so much experience on this track. Rizlone Defender, the first one down the ski hill and onto the bridge. Backdraft not bad. He is going to clip that center divide though. Heading into the tunnel, Rizlone Defender looking for a transfer. Beautiful transfer from both trucks. Backdraft, nicely done. Not many first-timers come out here and get a perfect transfer on their second time around the track. Rizlone Defender taking a hard hit. Backdraft essentially getting a perfect landing. It could be close here. I don't know if Backdraft is going to be able to come back, though. No, not after an elevated turn like that. Rizlone Defender in the lead and heading around the final turn. He is going to be moving on to the semifinals. Can he do it tonight? Rizlone Defender has been here many times. I believe this is 10. So I don't know. I think this is his 10th time on the track. Backdraft going for a ride. Down he goes with a hard hit. And nice almost save there from Backdraft. Truck was shut off, so that's why you didn't hear the throttle going. But yeah, anyways, it's Rizlone Defender's 10th time here. Can 10th time be the charm for Rizlone Defender? Can he make it into Season 2? Shell Camino coming out next, taking on Lucas Stabilizer. We're going green in round 2 and launching over this step up to get us started onto the first floor. This could be a good race as well. We saw, of course, this is Shell Camino's first time here on this track. We saw her do great in round 1. Lucas Stabilizer having her best pass that we've seen from her on this track in round 1 as well. So we'll see if that continues. It's not so far. She clips the dumpster in that first turn. Shell Camino off to an early lead here, heading through the slalom. Looking for the double roller for Shell Camino. Up and over. Can she get it downside? She does. Lucas Stabilizer pretty well as well. Pretty good as well. However you want to say it. Lucas Stabilizer trying to make up the ground out wide in that starting elevation turn though, so that does hurt her pass here. Shell Camino just holding that lead. Looking for a transfer into the tunnel. Shell Camino got it done in round 1, gets it done in round 2 as well. Lucas Stabilizer not bad herself. She's doing great on this track here tonight. I don't know if she made a pact with herself to get it done by her 3rd attempt, but she is getting it done. I don't know if she's going to make it into our semifinals, but she's having an excellent pass here. She is getting this track down and learning what she needs to do and improving. So that's what you love to see when you have a returning truck, just improvement overall. Shell Camino around that final turn first and heading into the semifinals. Lucas Stabilizer is heading to the finish line here in round 2. Not into the semifinals, but she's finishing her lap, which you love to see from these werewolf trucks. You love to see the damage and destruction, but you want to see them finish the race too sometimes, you know? Nice stoppie over the finish line, or after the finish line, I should say. Lucas Stabilizer down for now. We'll see if she can come back soon and get and earn her way into Season 2. Moving on with our next race of round 2. Tuna Ladon coming out on your right, and he'll be taking on Iron Outlaw. I mentioned it before, Iron Outlaw struggled on this track his first time here. This is only his 2nd time here, but he's showing improvement. And like I said with Lucas Stabilizer, that's all you really want to see is improvement. Overshoots the jackrabbit there, which lets Tuna Ladon grab an early lead heading into this first turn. Tuna Ladon Fire looking for finally that Season 2 qualification. We'll see if he can knock out Iron Outlaw here. Iron Outlaw seems to be very slippery through these turns. He's able to keep it on all fours, able to get through the turns, but as far as making up ground in the turns, doesn't seem to have that as well as some other trucks do. at least not trying to nail it as he does. Tunalidon Fire, the first one up onto the bridge. Big sky wheelie, which gets him into trouble on the cars. Clips that center divide. And he's throwing it in reverse to get off the bridge. Gets him into trouble. Down goes Tunalidon Fire on the bridge. Looking for a save. Not going to happen. Iron Outlaw free and clear to grab a win with essentially a practice pass here on the bottom floor. How is he going to do it? Is he going to get across the finish line? Look, I totally understand, you know, a 3-point or 6-point turn on the bridge. This bridge is pretty thin. A 3-point turn on the bridge to get you spun around the right direction is going to take some time. But, you know, you could eliminate yourself completely by throwing it in reverse, and we just saw that come into play here with Tunalidon. But Iron Outlaw does well on this bottom floor. Over the finish line he goes, and he is on to the semifinals tonight. Nicely done. From going out in round 1 to making it up into the semifinals, he is getting it done on the Spin Master Showdown track, and it is good to see. Let's take a look at our next competitors and our final competitors of the second round tonight. Monster Mutt on your right, taking on Toxic. Of course, as we mentioned, as you saw, Monster Mutt is that PEI Werewolf Node Beam version, so we'll see if he can hold it together in one piece here in the second round against Toxic, who was able to stick it out against Max D, who was unable to keep it on all 4 tires. So Toxic, both trucks kind of taking a rollover approach there. Toxic less so, but Monster Mutt, you know, that's seems to be a solid strategy for the Werewolf trucks. They all tap the brakes from driver interviews. They all tap the brakes over that Jackrabbit, but it just doesn't settle the nose down like they want it to. So they do that rollover approach to get the front end down, which typically helps. I mean, they do get some solid leaps over the gap. It's just not enough to clear it most of the time. Monster Mutt with a beautiful downside on the double roller. He's putting up a fight with Toxic, but Toxic is just holding that lead on Monster Mutt right now. Through the bridge, Monster Mutt getting into some trouble there on the car. Manages to get all 4 tires down. Toxic looking for a transfer. Little bit of a bounce. Is Monster Mutt going to nail it? He does. He gets a little bit of a bounce as well. But he's not in trouble like Toxic. Hard hit once again. What is that? 4 trucks now in this episode that have struggled coming out of the tunnel and over those rollers? Man, that was an extremely hard hit for Toxic. We're going to get the officials over to that side of the track and make sure he is okay. Monster Mutt, the only truck on the track, will be taking on Iron Outlaw in the semifinals. But it is all Monster Mutt here in the second round. Heading over the triple and to the finish line, Monster Mutt gets it done. And he is on to round 3, our semifinals tonight. Great pass from Monster Mutt, just keeping it solid, keeping it consistent, and getting through it. Slow and steady, do you? Works for another one here tonight on the Spin Master Showdown track. Let's take a look at our semi-final bracket. An interesting one for sure. I mean, to say the least, right? Rizlone Defender taking on Shell Camino. Rizlone Defender looking to get it done tonight. Can he qualify for Season 2? Iron Outlaw versus Monster Mutt. We've only seen Iron Outlaw once before. Monster Mutt, in all his different variations, has been here a lot of times. And I'm just talking plain Monster Mutt, not Dalmatian, not Rottweiler, not Golden Retriever. I don't even have Golden Retriever, but, you know, none of that. Not Husky, just Monster Mutt has been here quite a few times. And we'll see if tonight is the night for him as Rizlone Defender and Shell Camino launch off of that starting line and head down to the first floor. Rizlone Defender an early lead. But it's Shell Camino who comes back with a much better landing on the Jackrabbit. Around our first turn here, Shell Camino just expanding that lead on Rizlone Defender. Now here's the thing. This, I mean, they have endless opportunities to come back if the wheel lands on them. But I mean, as far as you know, this is your last chance to make a spot into Season 2. So Rizlone Defender trying his hard out here to get back in the lead and knock out Shell Camino and get into Season 2. It's the coveted position of a Season 2 qualifier, but as a Season 1 sub, Rizlone Defender is, I mean, technically, if you want to get into it, the most qualified because he's been in the shows. He's been there, so he knows what's up. He's just, you know, unable to qualify here without a win, and he needs to win. Shell Camino reclaims the lead or holds the lead at this point, and it doesn't look too good for Rizlone Defender. The pressure could get to him, and if not the pressure getting to him, then it just straight up doesn't look like it's going to happen here in the semifinals. Shell Camino, the first one around that final turn, and she'll be heading into the final round tonight. Rizlone Defender, once again, unable to do it. 10th time is not the charm for Rizlone Defender. Done is what he is here in the semifinals. Shell Camino on to the next one. First time on this track, showing out here at the Spin Master Showdown, getting that spot in the final round. Let's take a look at our next race and final race of the semis. Iron Outlaw is taking on Monster Mutt. This the names of these trucks just take you back to like 2007, doesn't it? I mean, Iron Outlaw taking on Monster Mutt in the World Finals, you know, that type of a thing. Oh man, Iron Outlaw, big leap onto the bottom floors. Monster Mutt with a slight lead. Monster Mutt, big sky wheelie over the Jackrabbit that slows him down. Enough for Iron Outlaw to grab a lead here through this first turn. Coming through the slalom, this is where Iron Outlaw is going to struggle, opposed to Monster Mutt, but Monster Mutt struggles. Gets hiked up onto two wheels. Still, it's Monster Mutt who may have a lead. No! Iron Outlaw comes back on the way out of the slalom. Over the double rollers, both trucks get solid landings, but Monster Mutt struggles getting onto starting elevation. That might put Monster Mutt out here for the rest of the race. We're just going to have to watch and see. Anything can happen to Iron Outlaw. He might even revisit his first time here. Take a big spill on the way out of the tunnel. We'll see what happens here. Looking for a transfer, comes up short. Monster Mutt gets a nice solid one, but he's getting close to the wall. Does tag it just a little bit. Iron Outlaw nearly going over. What a save. That does slow him down a lot, and he's going to have to go long to low in the gap, but so is Monster Mutt. So I think Iron Outlaw has this. Coming around that elevated turn, Iron Outlaw launching into that semifinal straightaway. Heading into the final turn, Iron Outlaw just holding that lead, and he does it. He is on to the final round tonight after a kind of sloppy final turn there. But over the triple he goes, and over the finish line, completely sideways. Iron Outlaw into the finals tonight. So that means your final round is Shell Camino taking on Iron Outlaw. Two first-timers, if they were to make it into Season 2, they would be it would be the first time we've seen either one of them in the ROR SRPS season. Who will come out on top? Shell Camino or Iron Outlaw? Gotta be honest, I'm rooting for Shell Camino here. I love that Iron Outlaw truck, but I painted Shell Camino, man. I made this. I need the Shell Camino win here in the final round, but we'll see how it goes. I don't do any bias in my actual races. I just, you know, talk about it afterwards. Launching off the starting line to get us started here for the final round, closing out the night. Iron Outlaw, big slap wheelie onto the first floor. Iron Outlaw gets a better landing on the Jackrabbit though, grabs the lead from Shell Camino. A lot of sliding from Iron Outlaw. Shell Camino able to make up a little bit of ground here heading into the slalom. Can she come back? Very interesting race here so far. I'm a super fan at this point because not only is this just monster truck racing, but a truck that I painted is in the race. So I'm just captivated at this point. Neck and neck onto the bridge. It is close. Shell Camino seems to have a slight lead. Iron Outlaw comes back just a little bit. Grabbing the lead from her. They're trading it off back and forth. and it could go either way into the tunnel. Shell Camino with a better transfer. Iron Outlaw holding that lead, though. Who's going to get it over the gap on the bottom floor? Ooh. Oh. Shell Camino had a better landing, but check the brakes, or I don't even know what happened. Bobbled on the elevated turn landing. It is Iron Outlaw heading to the final turn. Iron Outlaw does it here in episode 16. Iron Outlaw qualifies into season 2. We'll be seeing him all season long. What tour do you guys want to see him on? Head over to the RORSRPS Instagram. Drop a follow. Pay attention to my story on the weekends, because Saturdays, especially this Saturday, February 10th, we're going to be holding tour placement votes. Iron Outlaw is going to have to be put on either the Biggest and Baddest Tour, the Indie Madness Tour, or the All-Star Challenge Tour, featuring 2 teams. We got Team Thunder versus Team Mayhem all season long. And it's the biggest tour battle, the biggest team battle that Monster Jam has ever seen. And we got it here only on the RORSRPS YouTube channel. And you can place Iron Outlaw on any one of those tours on Instagram. One last look at Iron Outlaw, your second season 2 qualifier here tonight. Big shout out to everyone who attempted, but Iron Outlaw gets it done. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed tonight's episode. Leave a like for me, leave a comment. I'll see you guys next week with more season 2 qualifier. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget 10% off at Dubby.gg using RORSRPS at checkout. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next week.